You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring attorney, guest, and former felony prosecutor Eric Faddis.
The estranged wife of accused Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann, Asa Ellerup, seeking to get all of his legally owned guns returned to her, arguing that they're marital property worth the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which they probably are. But again, we're talking about the man who is being accused of being the Long Island serial killer and 300 guns being confiscated from the house. Is this a reasonable request on the part of Miss Ellerup?
You know, I think it is, however, uncouth it may appear. I do think it's reasonable, especially because of the estrangement and because of what looks like an impending divorce. They're going to have to parse out who gets what in terms of marital property. And if they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in firearms and antique firearms or whatever else, she's entitled to look into that. Now, does she really need to get them back in her possession at this time to handle that issue? I don't know about that. She hasn't even filed for divorce yet, is my understanding. So it seems a bit premature and a bit, it just looks kind of weird, but is it a reasonable request? I'd say yeah.
Just the optics of it are obviously horrible. There's been a lot of horrible optics on Asa Ellerup. There's been a lot of moments of, oh my gosh, this is horrible. I can't imagine what she's going through just learning this about her husband. But I think we do have to wonder a little bit of why did she stay with him all of these years? Maybe she was not aware that he was killing people. One would certainly hope that. But to be oblivious to this behavior of stalking women, of going out and doing these sort of things, I don't know how one would be that oblivious or how one would not have any sort of being suspect of Rex's behavior over the years, at the very least, his interest in women outside of the marriage.
Yeah, I mean, at least if the allegations are true, we're talking about decades of hunting down and murdering other women.
Yeah.
And my gosh, if you know your spouse reasonably well, it does seem hard to believe that she didn't have any inkling whatsoever. Now, on the other hand, some of the allegations state that Rex Heuermann committed some of these acts while his family was away, and he did it at his own residence. And so on top of that, he's a pretty furtive, secret dude, and he was gotten away with this allegedly for decades. So was he able to truly conceal these gruesome activities from his spouse? If there's anyone that could do it, it might be him.
Very, very much so. When we're looking at some of this, I want to go back to Asa again, because there just seems to be so much that's coming out here with her actions. Really, that's why we're talking about them. We're going on more than a month now of them, Asa and the children, going out onto the porch every day, complaining about how bad it is, that their home is going to cost so much to fix, even though they've already now been given $55,000 from strangers to go and fix the home and do all that sort of stuff, which is what they signed up for. But it seems to be a lot of, we need money, look at us, don't talk to us, but we're going to stand here and wave our hands and sit on our porch and ask for money, and we want your attention. I don't know. I'm so kind of enthralled with this behavior because it is so unlike anyone else I've ever seen who has had something like this happen, where a spouse is arrested for a horrible crime, and there has yet to be one note of, I'm sorry for those victims. This is horrible. It's been pretty much, we need money. We're horribly victimized as well. And I can't believe we're going to sue the police, too, because they came to our house and arrested our husband and ripped it up while they were looking for things. It just seems completely nuts. It seems out of character. It seems out of conscionable character, I guess I should say, because we don't know her character.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And it's sort of, at least from an onlooker's perspective who's detached from this case, it kind of has an air of her being an opportunist and trying to to capitalize on this. Now, that being said, that family, if they had nothing to do with this, is probably reeling. Their life is wrong.
Sure.
And so, people don't always act right when they're in that circumstance. Now, if it were me and if I were her counsel, would I advise her to be less public and make less requests and stop asking for money? Absolutely at this juncture. But, again, it's just, I don't know what they're dealing with internally, what the family dynamic is like after this huge severance. And I've just got to wonder if some of those chaotic factors are influencing some of this behavior.
That's a good point to make. If they did live in chaos and everything has always been chaotic, one would expect the same sort of behavior to continue, even when, one of the people who creates chaos has left the home. Maybe this is completely in character for them. Maybe this is how she's lived her life all the time. It's just now that there's a microscope on it, we're seeing far more of the opportunist type behavior come out in a very inopportune time.
Yeah, no, I feel you. And, this is what her life has always been like. Maybe this is normal to her. I mean, not normal, but essentially par for the course, just in terms of the weirdness that must have been going on in that family to some degree. And maybe she is just kind of oblivious to how some people have viewed these actions. Although if she's, reading the papers, I would think she'd be informed about that. But yeah, definitely some stuff that raises some eyebrows and some weird behavior from the family after all these allegations have emerged.
You're consuming the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.